Yeah, go ahead. You have questions, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the recording to start. Okay, yeah, we can start now.
Sure. Yeah.
So the first role that we have is
Uh-huh.
the role of a stevedore.
Yeah.
And just would like to find out, what would be your understanding of their role, like
Hmm. Which role? Whose role? Sorry.
stevedore, as a stevedore.
Okay, so stevedore, their role in the port ecosystem is mainly, to go on board the vessel.
Mm,
Let's say, for example, mainly stevedores are used on the container side. So
yeah.
what they do is, they go on board the ships. They, when the containers are placed on board the vessel, they ensure that the containers are shackled well. Make sure that the twist locks are there, all the equipment that needs to secure the cargo. That is the main role of the stevedores.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's great. And who do they report to?
Well, they have their
Mm,
they have the manager, who, I mean, sometimes they are members of the port authorities. Sorry, they are direct employees of the port authority. Sometimes they could be
mm,
uh, a private company which could be contracted by the ports. So yeah.
mm. I see. Okay, cool. And what would be their daily routine like?
Their daily routine would be probably, morning when they come, they would get a plan of, what all the vessels are coming. And
Mm-hmm.
based on that, in the port, they will arrange all those lashing and all those equipment that they require to,
Mm,
uh, to go on board the ship and, help assist the vessel with the securing of the cargoes and all that.
mm-hmm. And what would be their main priorities?
To ensure that, the cargo is safely shackled onto the vessel, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Like,
yes, yeah, continue.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, though they are quite prominent in the container trade, but, even in bulk carriers also, these stevedores play an important role, especially, when there is bagged grains and other cargoes, like project cargoes, etc.
Okay. And what would be the improvement that they'll be looking out for?
Well, as such, well, the main challenge with stevedores is mainly the safety, because some a lot of them, they are not familiar with the vessels because they just onboard the vessels and they have to get on with their work, right? So they hardly get much time to get familiarized with the vessels. So a lot of in stevedore injuries do happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I think safety is their main concern other than anything else.
Mm-hmm. And what would be your understanding of their common challenges uh, in their daily?
Daily life, I'm not so sure, to be very honest.
Mm. Okay. So have you came across any common challenges that they would face as a stevedore?
No, I have no
No.
experience. I've never interviewed any of them.
Okay,
But
no
yeah.
worries. And what do you think is their safety point of view?
Well, it all depends on which port you are. Some ports have a high emphasis on safety, so you will see stevedores coming in with proper PPE and equipment and all that. Some
Mm,
ports, like in third world countries and Africa and all, you will see the stevedores, uh, not so safety conscious. I mean, it eventually they are at the mercy of whoever is employing them, right? So yeah.
mm. And if they come across the safety issue, what do you think? How do you manage it?
How, I mean, we don't I mean, if they come across any safety issue, then they will inform their lead, and that person will take it up, with the vessel. And if it's on the vessel side, then he will probably take it up with the master. If it is on the terminal side, then he will take up with the port authority.
Mm. And then who will they report the safety issue to?
They will report to their superior, who is in charge of all this, to the entire stevedore gang.
Mhm. And what are the tools that they are currently using? Any idea?
It all depends. Bulk carrier, they'll be using various different tools, and for container, they'll be using different tools.
Mm.
Yeah.
And do you think they are digitally sound?
Not sure. I don't think so. Most of them are not. But yeah, I think in today's smartphone era, I'm pretty sure they would be able to operate a smartphone. So I think, yeah, I mean, if if your question is regarding would they be able to operate an app or something like that, then yes, they would be able to do that.
Okay, that's great.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Sure. And any idea if they are currently using RightShip products?
No, I don't think so.
And for non-user of RightShip, what do you think will entice them to get on board with RightShip?
Well, it depends on the use case.
Mm.
Yeah.
And who do you think will be the paymaster if for the functionality?
Who do you think will be the?
Yeah, like who will be basically coming out with the budget for getting on board digitally?
Well, it all depends, right? I mean, sometimes, these are centrally contracted workers. If they have unions and all that, then I think this probably would come from the port authority. Yeah.
And so as a stevedore, what sort of features do you think they'll be looking out for?
Not sure.
Okay, sure. No issue. Let's move on to the second role,
Yeah.
which is the role of a marine pilot. What would be your understanding of their role?
Well, you want to talk to a marine pilot, to be honest?
You have a contact?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can pin me in the chat. Maybe I can reach out to them.
Okay, can. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have any understanding of their, what, as a marine pilot, what is their role like?
Yeah, I mean, I know the Singapore pilot because I have a lot of friends in PSA, so I can. Uh, so their role is essentially they work 4 days on, 2 days off, something like that, and their job is to go on board the ships, help the ship navigate the ship from the Singapore anchorage to the berth, and from the berth back to to the open seas. So their job involves going or getting on a pilot station, getting on a pilot boat, climbing the vessel, going on board, navigating the vessel.
And who would they be reporting to?
They have this pilot association, right? So they are all members of the pilot association. So I'm sure they must be having some kind of a hierarchy, right? I mean, they must be having a reporting manager, and
Okay.
the other stakeholders include, I mean, whoever the person assigns them the vessel.
And what would be their daily routine like as a marine pilot?
Daily routine, no idea, frankly speaking.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Any understanding of what would be their main priorities?
Well, their main priority would be to make sure that they're able to bring the vessel alongside safely and safely on board and exit the vessel.
And what do you think would be if there's any improvement for marine pilot, what would they be looking out for?
Improvement in the sense, how I think the biggest improvement would be probably, if they can get alongside the vessel safely, get on board the vessel safely, because a lot of vessels, I mean, their pilot ladders and the way access to the vessel are not up to the mark. So there's a lot of inconsistencies there, in terms depending on the type of vessels and all that. So yeah, I think their main priority is that part, and other than that, I don't think so. The navigation is not can be one part of the other part of it, wherein if they can, I mean, if they would be able to, how do you say, I mean, probably have some knowledge of the vessel beforehand, before going on board, which I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, they must be having some mechanism to understand what kind of vessel they're getting on. So yeah,
Okay, so
but
they'll
yeah, but the access is something which they wouldn't be aware until they see it, right? They would not know whether this thing is safe or not safe. And but even then, it's a quite a risk. Have you ever seen pilot climbing on board a ship?
yes, I have, yeah.
Yeah, so you must have seen, right? I mean, how I mean, it's though it sounds I mean, though it sounds very simple, just climbing up a ladder, but it's actually quite a risky proposition, especially when you are at sea, and the vessel is also moving, and the pilot boat is also moving, coming alongside. Yeah.
And what would be their common challenges at work?
Common challenges would be, one could be a hectic schedule. That could be a common challenges. Sometimes there is a shortage of pilot. There are more vessels coming in. Then the pilots might have to do. But I'm sure there is some regulation. Okay, in better ports like Singapore, I'm pretty sure there is a regulation in place so that the pilots are not overworked. Because
Mm,
fatigue can lead to a lot of accidents and human error.
mm.
Yeah.
And how do they overcome them?
Well, the way to overcome them is to have a better management system, wherein the rest hours of the pilot are well managed, and there are processes in place to check, whether a pilot is fatigued, exhausted, before going on board the ship.
Mm. And as a marine pilot, what do you think is their safety point of view?
Well, I'm pretty sure they are very keen on, their own safety and the safety of the ship. Yeah, so they are. I mean, you can say that they are quite safety conscious in that sense.
Mm-hmm. And how would they manage a safety issue?
Well, they would straight away report to PSA, Port of Singapore. I mean, that's how the Singapore pilots do.
Okay. And who do they report the safety issue to?
Uh, I'm sure there is a mechanism in place for them to report.
Mm. And what are the tools they will be currently using? Any idea?
I know they do carry something called as something like an iPad or something. I
Oh,
mean,
they
I've
do.
seen, yeah, I've seen a lot of pilots carry that. The pilots in US, I've seen, yeah,
Mm.
even in
And
Europe.
I see. So can I say that they are tech savvy?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. And have you came across any of them they are currently using RightShip products?
No,
Mm. And what will entice a non-user to come on board with RightShip?
same again. It's the use case, right? I mean, what's in it for me?
Mm.
Yeah,
And who do you think will be the paymaster for getting on
PSA,
board?
PSA.
PSA.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
PSA, which is the port, the
Port.
port authority, right? Who,
Understand.
yeah.
And so what do you think are the features that a marine pilot will look out for in a digital product?
Well, features wise, very hard to say.
Mm, okay, right, right. Let's move on to a birth planner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a birth planner, what do you think their role is like?
Well, the berth planner is their role is to see, what is the port lineup, which are the vessels which are due for berthing, and then, allocate the berths accordingly,
Mm,
depending upon, which vessel has come in first, tendered NOR first, and all that. So they sit
mm-hmm.
mainly in the office.
Oh, they sit mainly in the office. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do they report to?
They might, I mean, whoever is in charge of the port, right? I mean, I don't know the exact hierarchy, but
Mm,
all I can say is, I mean, they report to the whether berth planner can also report to the terminal authority also.
I see,
Sometimes,
I see.
yeah, sometimes the port does not own the terminal; that it's a private terminal. Let's say, for example, your WOPAC and all that. So then they would report to their boss, who all the berth planner comes around. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
who is in charge of all these berth planners.
Mm-hmm. And what would their daily routine be like as a birth planner?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just my estimate. I mean, their morning routine would probably be start with a key meeting wherein they look at what is the port lineup for the day, and then assign the berths, appropriate berths, depending upon the size of the vessel, and port, basically berth to vessel fit based on that, and the arrival timings of the vessel. Then they will
Mm,
allocate the berths,
I see.
prioritize. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of main priorities would they have?
Uh, their main priority would be to ensure that the vessel that they have allocated to a particular berth is able to successfully come alongside, carry out the cargo discharging, etc. And yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of improvement would they be looking out for to
Uh,
simplify their workflow and things like that?
well, they would be looking out for potentially a tool wherein they can actually understand more about the vessel, and see how the vessel will fit onto their berths. So yeah, that could be something. And another thing would be, the
Mm.
proper management of ETA, because ETA uh, visibility on the ETA is quite a critical issue in these times. So I mean, there are a lot of startups who are actually doing that, to give a bit of a visibility to all the relevant stakeholders as to the changes in the ETA.
I see. Okay, that's good. Um, what sort of common challenges will they face?
The common challenges that they would face is the you mean the berth planners?
Yes.
Okay. The berth planners' common challenges would be, not having the visibility about the vessels which come to the port. Delays would be one part. And another thing is, not having enough information about a vessel. So sometimes they might allocate a wrong berth. So, due to a lack of information to a vessel which cannot perform a loading or discharging operation. So that could be one thing.
Mm, okay. And how do they overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, they have their own mechanism, like, they have their own systems wherein they get information about, the vessels coming in. Yeah.
Mm,
But again, it also varies from port to port. Some ports are efficient, some ports are not that efficient.
yeah. And what would be their safety point of view?
Safety wise, I mean, their concern is mainly, that the vessel comes alongside safely, carries out the cargo operation safely, and exits without any human harm or environmental damage.
Mm-hmm. And how would they manage a safety issue?
Well, if there is an issue, I think, every port has their safety officer and all that. So those are the people who actually look into the safety aspects,
Mm,
not so much the berth planner.
I see. And who will they report the safety issue to?
No, they would not. The berth
Yeah.
planner? No, the berth planner does
But
not get involved much. It's the safety officer who will probably escalate it to harbor master and all those things. Guys.
okay. And what sort of tools are they currently using? Any idea of that?
No, I'm sure they have their proprietary software for berth planning. That would be
Mm.
something which they would be using.
So can I say that they are tech savvy as well?
Yeah, they should be.
Mm. Have you came across any birth planner who are currently using RightShip?
No,
And if that's the
but
case,
I have
yeah.
not come across anyone, but I'm sure there must be some ports which could be using. I'm not aware of.
Okay. And if they are not, right, what do you think will entice them to come on board?
Well, to be very honest, I mean, this is not a decision for the port planner to make. It's generally the
Mm,
port authority that decides.
I see.
Yeah, it's the
And
process. It's the process. If the process is built around right ship, then they would use right ship.
mm, and who would be the paymaster? Would that be the port authority as well?
Yeah, the port authority.
Mm. Um, so based on your perspective, what sort of features would birth planner be looking out for digitally?
Features I am not so sure about.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, no issue. Okay, let's move on to the last three. As a terminal manager, what do you
yeah.
think is their role is like?
Well, terminal manager, or let's say a harbor master. Let's say, for example, if we're talking about a port, or if we're talking about a particular terminal, so the roles are quite similar. There's quite a bit of overlap. The
Mm,
terminal manager is the one who manages the terminal, so he has to uh, ensure that all the vessels coming can safely come into his terminal, carry out the cargo operations, and exit. Same with the other relevant parties. So he is the overall in charge.
mm. Who will they be reporting to
They
as a
will be
terminal manager?
reporting, yeah, as a terminal manager. They would be report, I think, terminal manager, I think they are employed by whoever owns the terminal, right? So they would have
Okay.
their own central authority,
Mm,
so that has appointed the terminal manager.
mhm. And what is their daily routine like?
I would not be able to advise on that much,
Mm,
because I'm sure they must be having various stakeholders, various employees, right? So basically, but I think their main concerns, when they come to a job, is to ensure, whatever vessels there are coming in to the terminal
mm,
is well equipped, all that facilities are there. There are no,
Mm-hmm.
there are no what do you call machinery issues in the terminal or in the port. you know so those are the
Mm-hmm.
things that are the main priority, and based on that, then if there are any issues, then they would have to carry out the repair works, maintenance works, etc. Then all the
Mm-hmm.
relevant parties who are involved in the terminal operations, like your stevedore gangs and your mooring gangs, your everything is aligned so that everything works like a well-oiled machinery.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think would be their main priorities?
Uh, the main priorities will be to ensure safe operations at the terminal.
Mm,
Yeah.
I see. Mm. What sort of improvement would they be looking out for to
Improvement
enhance their
wise,
workflow?
is to then again, I mean, this is coming from Edwin, one of our partners at Nexport.
Yeah.
So what he said is, it would be good if the terminal managers have a good visibility about the kind of vessels that are coming in, and
Ah,
yeah, so just so as to ensure that only the safe and good vessels enter the terminals,
I see. I
so
see.
as to avoid any incidents.
Mm. And what are the common challenges that they will face?
The common challenges, okay, again, this is again, I will quote Edwin here. The common challenges that they face is that a lot of the terminals
Mm.
uh, understand more about the condition of the vessel only once the vessel has come inside the port limit or inside the terminal.
Also, it's quite late that they
Yeah,
have
it's quite late. I
received
mean,
any.
once it's in your, once it's there, I mean, there's not much you can do with it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so how do they overcome them? Like, the lack of information.
Well, how they used to do it is traditionally what used to happen is, every some of the terminals they used to have a wetting inspectors sitting at the terminal, to go wet the vessel, which has come on board, and then identify deficiencies and provide them with corrective actions and all that. But then again, this is, I would say, is too late an action, so
Yeah.
it's a more of a reactive play than a proactive play.
Mm.
Yeah.
And okay. And
So then
what?
that's why I
Yes.
think the future would probably in this area would probably be reliance more on the data.
Mm.
Like, so this is one area where I feel that, Rightship has some play there.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. So what would be their safety point of view?
Their safety, I mean, they are very safety conscious.
They are very safety. Okay.
Yeah.
How do they manage a safety issue?
Well, they either they ask the vessel to evacuate if and resolve the issue and then come back, or if it's a minor issue, then then they will ask the vessel to rectify it then and there if it can be done.
Mm. And who do they report the safety issue to?
They don't. The harbor master or the terminal manager usually don't. They will report it to their, you know, higher or ups. Whoever has appointed the terminal manager or harbor master, they'll maintain as a record of that thing. That's all.
Mm.
And beyond that, I think they will just give the vessel a letter of protest and or ask the vessel, or sometimes if it's a really bad vessel, and if there is some real incident which happens on the port, then they might even ban the port from those terminals,
Mm. And
depending on the severity of the incident, severity and the reoccurrence probability.
right, right. Okay. The next question is what are the tools that they currently using? Any
I'm sure them see,
mhm,
all terminals they have their in-house
in-house?
software which they use
Mm.
for coordinating all the various operations.
Mm. So can we also safely say that they are tech savvy?
Yes,
Mm.
tech savvy, but they don't have that much access to too many uh, softwares on, I mean,
And
within their workspace.
mm-mm. Have you came across any that are using a right ship products?
I'm sure some terminals are using RightShip products.
Mm. I
Yeah.
see. Okay. So if they are not, what do you think will entice them to come on board as
Well,
a
again,
terminal manager?
it's a use case, right?
Mm.
And it's the importance of use case. I mean, and we need to convince them about what is how it benefits them and what's in it for them. So,
Mm.
but again, it all depends upon how the an individual views it. For some terminal managers or harbor masters, what they have might be adequate. For some of them, they might feel that we need additional safeguards in terms of safety.
Mm-hmm. And who will be the paymaster?
The paymaster would be, I mean, the right person to approach will be the port authority, which appoints the harbor master, or the terminal entity which
Mm.
appoints the terminal manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what sort of features do you think they will need as a, as a terminal manager?
Well, I mean, they would. I mean, feature wise, I mean, I'm not so sure
Mm.
what features they would require, but then they would want the kind of feature that would make their life easy, and
Mm.
they would be reluctant to, uh, involve any third party software, which just adds to their workload.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
And of course, and then there, because the major challenge with terminal operator is that the process has to be tweaked to incorporate something new. So that can be a challenge for entry of a new software or a
Mm.
new solution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. As a harbor master, what do you think is their role like?
Same, similar to quite similar to terminal manager, but in addition to that, harbor master is also responsible for, sometimes the pilot associations, the pilot uh, organization also comes under the harbor master,
Mm.
and he is in charge of a wider area, as
Mm.
to multiple terminals and all that. That's all.
Yeah.
And he's also in charge of looking at uh, the passage towards the to the berth, like the waters. So yeah, he's in charge of the water. So anything that occurs within that area, within that wider area, in terms of incidents, pollution, the harbor master is involved, and he's also uh, involved in ensuring that the operations are safe, or if there is any spillage, then the cleanup crew and everything is there. So those also come under them. Same as terminal manager.
Mm. And who do they need to report to?
Well, harbor master generally, I mean, in government ports, right? I mean, it's the terminal of the port authority of that country.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would be their daily routine like?
It's I think it's pretty much similar to the terminal manager, but then it comes with a higher responsibility, because essentially a harbor master is somebody who's appointed by the government. So I'm sure he must be having his own reporting structure. And yeah.
Mm. And what sort of main priorities would they have as a harbor master?
Well, the main priority is, the safety of the harbor. Security wise, the harbor has to be secure, because there could be terror incidents and all that. So all these various factors, and ensure that smooth running of the port and all the operations that go on inside the harbor.
Mm. What sort of improvement would they be looking out for?
Improvements, like as I said again, same as terminal manager. Anything that
Mm.
can makes their life a lot easier
Mm-hmm.
than today.
Mm-hmm. What would be your understanding of their common challenges?
Common challenges again would probably be the fact that the improvements take time. Suggestions take time to be accepted.
Mm. And how do they overcome challenges?
Well, well, it's a process, right? I mean, there is no one fix for all, right? I mean, every country would be different, so very hard for me to comment on that.
Mm. And as a harbor master, what would be their safety point of view?
Very high safety would be high priority for them. Safety, security, environment. Yeah.
How would, yes.
Evan, so sorry, yeah, because I have another urgent call at 11:30. So can
Oh,
I
okay.
take this one? Can we continue this one sometime later if you have
Yeah,
more
yeah.
questions?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'll contact you later, probably after lunch, and see if you have a time slot today.
Sure, sure. Great.
All right. Thank you. I see you
Thank you.
later.
See you. See you.
See
Or
you.
maybe we can do it tomorrow also. Tomorrow,
Okay. What would be
Wednesday
a good time
afternoon.
for you?
Yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon. I think probably, let me see my calendar. Uh, Yeah, I think we can do around 3 or something.
Okay, I'll send you an invite for
Yeah,
3 p.m. tomorrow.
perfect.
Okay, thank you. I won't hold you up now.
Oh, no, sorry. Can we do
Mm.
it on Thursday instead? Thursday,
Because
probably 3 same time,
uh,
or 2. 2 also can.
you're not available in the morning?
No, morning. No, I have to prepare for one presentation with Steve, so I'll be
I
busy with that.
see.
Yeah.
What about Friday?
Friday, I'm on half day leave,
I see.
but morning I can do. Let me see.
Mm.
Okay, I'll get back to you on that. Great.
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
See you later. Thank you so
See
much.
you.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.